Numbers on my hands, countdown to a bone-chilling truth at midnight. The clock ticked ominously in the shadowy corners of Emily's room. It wasn't just any clock, it was a peculiar antique, with a face crackling with age and whispered secrets. The hour hand moved sedately, yet the numbers on her hands were what held her breath. For every digit etched there wasn't just a mark, they were countdowns to events that she couldn't explain but felt in her bones. Every glance at them sent shivers up her spine, electrifying her with fear of what was yet to unfold. Last night's storm had rattled the windows, but it wasn't the wind that made her skin crawl. It was a strange encounter in the alley behind her house. She could still picture the figure wrapped in darkness, eyes glinting like shards of ice. "You're not ready," it had said, pointing at her palms, a sick grin splitting its face. Suddenly, Emily's breaths turned shallow, an erratic pulse raced through her veins. As she came back to the present, she noticed the numbers flickering like malfunctioning lights, taunting her. It was like they were alive, thrumming in sync with her mounting dread. Her hands, illuminated by the failing light, had one number that glowed brighter than the rest 3. What did that mean? Was it 3 days left? 3 hours? The tightness in her chest grew unbearable, each tick of the clock amplifying the anticipation. It felt urgent, terrifying even, as if the universe itself was counting down to some unfathomable climax. Suddenly, a rumor filled her mind. The town had stories of the Witch of Midnight, who cursed those who dared know their fate. Were these numbers a blessing or a cruel joke? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Emily's heart thundered as she squinted at her palms, searching for clarity in the chaos. There had to be something hidden within those numbers. The dreadful feeling of being watched prickled her skin. Was someone out there? "What do you want from me?" she whispered into the hushed air, desperate for answers. As the clock showed 1 minute to midnight, the room grew even colder. A gust of wind slammed the door shut. Right then, the number on her hand, a final twist of fate, began to evaporate like mist in the burning sun. Panic seized her, and she felt her breathing quicken. The air thickened, the atmosphere swirled with unease. What waited for her behind the veil of time? What truth was midnight prepared to unveil? With dread pooling in her stomach, she braced herself for whatever revelation lurked just beyond the stroke of 12. The clock struck midnight, echoing through the silence like a drumroll heralding a tragic announcement. Emily gasped as the final glimmer of light faded from the number 3 on her palm, the skin where it had been felt impossibly cold, as if something had been decisively ripped away. Instinctively, she glanced at the antique clock, now glowing with an eerie phosphorescent light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her racing heart. She stood frozen, dread squeezing her chest. The room was alive with shadows, shifting and curling like the tendrils of smoke. And then, that voice echoed once more in her head, chilling her to the core. "You're not ready." Before she could even catch her breath, a creaking sound broke the suffocating stillness. She turned slowly, scanning the room with wide, fearful eyes. The wind howled outside, but she knew it wasn't the storm that rattled her nerves. It was the sudden chill that swept over her, carrying whispers, lingering echoes of despair. "What do you want from me?" she shouted, her voice trembling but defiant, cutting through the tension like a knife. There came no answer, just the oppressive weight of silence. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she noticed movement. A dark figure flickered at the edge of her vision, barely visible but deeply unsettling. Panic shot through her veins, and without a second thought, she bolted for the door. But it wouldn't open, not even a creak. Trapped. The walls themselves seemed to pulse, closing in on her. Sweat trickled down her forehead as she pounded her fists against the door. "Let me out. she screamed. The shadows danced around her, elongating, twisting into forms that pulled her thoughts into a whirlpool of dread. And then she heard a low, mocking laughter echoing from somewhere in the room. It raised the hairs at the back of her neck that in a flash, she remembered the town's chilling legends, whispered among the locals about the Witch of Midnight. Was this her doing? Were her numbers a map leading her to something darker, something inevitable? Every story she had ever dismissed came rushing back as if to mock her disbelief. Were those tales warnings or merely bedtime stories? Just then, a sudden rush of cold air surrounded her, revealing the silhouette she thought she saw earlier. This time, the figure stepped into the flickering light. It wasn't just a shadow. It was human, a woman, draped in tattered robes that billowed around her like a dark cloud, her eyes burning with a knowing intensity. Emily, the name hung in the air, saturated with something ominous, a promise of what was to come. The countdown has begun. You must decide before it is all taken from you. Terror filled every inch of Emily. What decision? What did she have to lose? The glinting eyes of the witch bore into her, and Emily felt as though her very essence was being weighed, judged. Find the answer within your heart, the figure whispered ominously. Time waits for no one, and secrets come with a price. The woman's words slithered into her mind, mingling with her panic. The clock began to tick louder, a heartless reminder that whatever was to come was not far away. Emily took a step back, bracing herself against the wall, eyes wide in disbelief. What was within her heart? What truth lay in her grasp that could unlock the chains binding her to this nightmare? As the witch raised her hand, a new number appeared on Emily's palm too, pulsing brighter than anything she had ever seen. What did it mean? The second tick echoed loudly, rapidly closing in on her last chance. Could she unravel the mystery before it was too late? Would she dare to dig deep inside, exposing truths she had long buried? Emily clenched her fists, filled with determination. The stakes were rising, and soon, she would have to act. But would the price be too high? The clock ticked, its sound reverberating like a countdown to disaster. The Witch of Midnight's grin widened, a silhouette against the darkness, as if she already knew the answer that would shatter Emily's world. What will she reveal about the haunting curse, and could she escape her fate in time? The clock's ticking grew louder, an electric crescendo that pulsed with Emily's heartbeat. She felt the warmth of fear clawing at her throat as she stared into the witch's fiery gaze. Each second pushed her closer to the edge of an unknown precipice. Emily had always thought of herself as brave, but now she was questioning everything: who she was and what she was capable of. The witch reiterated, her voice smooth, almost melodic but laced with something sinister. Two means choices, dear Emily. What will you sacrifice? Sacrifice? The word hit her like a wave, tumbling her thoughts into disarray. Her heart raced as she tried to grasp the contours of this horrifying riddle, but all she felt was the hollow pit in her stomach deepening. The room blurred around her as the shadows flickered alive, each one crawling toward her like a creature hungry for a feast. She could almost hear their whispers, a cacophony of desperate truths that clawed at her conscience. Your heart knows, the witch coaxed, lips curling into a wicked smile that made every hair on Emily's body stand on end. But it's the truth that hurts, isn't it? Emily swallowed hard, wanting to scream, needing to fight the suffocating pressure pressing upon her. Yet the room's shifted walls seemed to pulse, echoing her doubts. Was she really ready to face what lay within her heart? What secrets had she hidden that could bring everything crashing down? Another tick rang out, each beat chilling her to the bone. There was no escape, the realization hung in the air. She felt like a bird trapped in a cage, wings clipped by her own fears. What choices? Emily whispered, voice trembling but desperate for a chance to break free. In your dreams, the witch replied, almost purring. Your dreams hold the key, but the locks must be turned from the inside. You have a choice to make, but choose wisely, or everything you love will be lost to the darkness. A sharp pain coursed through her as the flashbacks hit her hours spent with her little brother, the warmth of family gatherings, laughter shared over a dinner table, moments too precious to fathom losing. The thought clawed at her heart, threatening to tear her apart. What was worth saving? What price would she pay? The answers felt just out of reach, like a forbidden secret hidden beneath the floorboards of her mind. The witch raised her hand again, and suddenly, a third number glowed wickedly on Emily's palm, the number 1. It was ferocious, pulsating with urgency. With every thrum, she felt the weight of time compressing around her, like a vice tightening. Now, Emily, the witch said, her tone almost a sing-song, what does one mean? The first step, the beginning or the end? The pressure mounted, and Emily felt tears prickle at the corners of her eyes. This wasn't just about her any longer, it was about everyone she cared for. Her mind raced. Could she follow the path carved by her hidden truths, or would she let them remain buried in the shadows forever? Dread pooled deep in her chest, and she understood this was more than a decision. It was a reckoning. She had to choose before the final tick heralded her doom. With a deep breath, she steadied herself. I need to find out, she whispered, almost as if saying it aloud could somehow anchor her against the oncoming storm. But just before she could take a step closer into the shadows, the witch's laughter rang out, echoing cruelly in the enclosed space. Time is short, and the hourglass is running dry, my dear. Emily's eyes widened in terror. Would she be able to grasp the depths of her heart in time? As the hammer of the clock landed once more, a final tick resounded in her mind. The shadows closed in, and she could only wonder what lurked beyond the choices she was about to make. Would she find the light, or was she destined to be swallowed by darkness? The air thickened, and the stage for her choice was set. What would she do next? Was there still room for hope as the moment of truth loomed? The shadows swirled closer, each flicker seeming to pulse with a life of its own. Emily felt the weight of their presence pressing against her skin, whispering secrets that scrambled her thoughts, taunting her with the fear of discovery. With every breath, she could feel the chant of her racing heart echoing around the room, drowning out the witch's eerie song. Emily, the clock is ticking. Your hesitation is a luxury you can't afford, the witch cooed, a hint of impatience creeping into her voice. What do you want from me? Emily shouted, trying to summon every ounce of defiance she could muster. What kind of choices are you talking about? The witch tilted her head, her smile never faltering, and the flickering light seemed to dance in her fiery eyes. Oh, darling, the choices are yours to make. Will you confront your deepest fears? Or cling to your ignorance until the final toll of that clock seals your fate? The unyielding beat of each second pressed upon Emily like a weight, suffocating but somehow exhilarating. She glanced at the glowing numbers on her palm, her skin tingling from the energy radiating off them. 1, 2, 3, she murmured, attempting to process the enormity of it all. Perhaps you should take a closer look at your life, the witch offered, her tone dripping with mockery. What do you treasure most? What would you give up to protect it? A rush of memories flooded her brother's laughter, the late-night talks with her mother, the sense of safety that came from a warm embrace. Each image hit her like an icy dagger, the ache in her heart deepening. If she had to make a choice, what would she base it on? Don't you see it? The witch leaned in, her voice heavy with dark excitement. Sacrifice is a part of love. Sometimes you must let go of something precious to save something dearer. Emily licked her dry lips, her throat tight with unshed tears. You speak of love, but what do you know of it? The witch barely blinked, her icy gaze unnerving Emily further. More than you can comprehend. And the love you hold so dearly, does it come without a price? Are you even willing to pay? There was an edge to her voice now, something dangerously close to venom. What do you want me to do? Emily spat, fighting to keep her composure, but the inner storm was raging. Embrace the darkness, Emily. Harness it, transform it into power. The room erupted into shadows, the whispers became shouts, swirling all around her as images flashed before her eyes. Sudden, sharp clarity broke through the chaos. She had felt the stirrings of something within, a connection to the shadows that gnawed at her soul, whispering promises of strength. But could she trust it? Did she dare to let that darkness take root in her heart? Tick-tock, dear one. The witch sang, her laughter now cacophonous, reverberating like the toll of an ancient bell. Emily's breath quickened. I won't let you win. She gritted her teeth. But with that declaration came an overwhelming wave of doubt. Was this truly a battle of good and evil? Or merely a test of her own resolve? With trembling hands, she raised her palm, contemplating the glowing numbers. Reveal your truth, she whispered, knowing every second counted. Then, the room shifted again. An ethereal glow illuminated a third option on her palm, an enigmatic symbol, pulsing softly but ominously. What is that? Emily trembled, eyes wide. The witch leaned back, her face alight with expectation. Ah, the unknown, and therein lies your true power. But beware, for its price could be more than you are ready to pay. The clock is counting down, Emily. The darkness swelled around her, ever eager to consume. With the last beats of the clock reverberating in her chest, she had one final thought: could she traverse this narrow path unscathed, or would this choice change her forever? The shadows beckoned, a dance of temptation, as the witch's laughter flickered out like a dying flame. Emily stood at the precipice, a choice hanging heavily in the air. What would she risk, and was she ready to face the unimaginable? The countdown loomed dangerously close. Would she unlock the power within or succumb to the darkness? As dread coiled tightly around her heart, a haunting thought lingered: would she find herself on the other side standing with the light, or slip deeper into the abyss? The choice was hers, and the consequence would be eternal. Emily's breath hitched as the glowing symbol on her palm intensified, illuminating the room like a pulsating heartbeat. She could feel the shadows closing in, their whispers morphing into a hissing cacophony that echoed in her mind, pressing her into a corner of despair. Choose. The witch's voice slithered through the chaos, sharp and commanding. Or forever lose the ones you love. Emily swallowed. The lump in her throat was a solid weight that threatened to choke her. Her mind raced through the choices laid bare before her. Each heartbeat felt like a hammer pounding within her skull. She looked closer at the glowing symbol, a twisted spiral encircled by fragments that resembled shattered glass. What did it mean? Is that my power? She whispered, almost to herself. Or my downfall? The witch chuckled, a sound that turned her blood to ice. Power comes at a steep price, dear child. Can you bear the cost? Just like that, the room shifted violently. The shadows churned, and Emily felt a gust of unholy wind slicing through her. She stumbled back, crashing against the wall. The sensation of fear ignited a fire within her. How could she stand against this darkness? Suddenly, snippets of laughter and comfort shot back into her mind: her brother's joyful shout as they raced down the street, her mother's gentle hand on her shoulder, reassuring and warm. Each memory eroded her hesitation, replaced by a resolve that felt like iron. If confronting this darkness meant saving them, then she couldn't back down. I'll make my choice, she declared, her voice stronger than she felt. The shadows seemed to recoil, silent for a fleeting moment, as if accepting her challenge. In that hushed stillness, Emily felt the weight of their power, raw and electric. She focused on the symbol, allowing herself to imagine the strength it could unleash. Show me, she breathed. Show me what I need to do. As if in response, the shadows swirled once more, but this time they began to take form: faces of those she loved, their eyes wide with fear and sadness, beckoning her. The pang of desperation clawed at Emily's chest. She couldn't let them suffer. Are you ready to embrace the darkness? The witch taunted, her eyes glinting with anticipation. It awaits you with open arms. Emily's heart thundered in response to the witch's words. She took a faltering step forward. I choose to embrace what lies within. The shadows lunged, wrapping around her like coiling serpents, warm and cold all at once. Her mind spun, but amidst the chaos, she felt a surge of connection. The power coursed through her veins, it was terrifying yet intoxicating. Beautiful. The witch cackled, clapping her hands. But power comes with sacrifice. What will you give? The question loomed overhead, dark and daunting. Images of her loved ones flickered in and out, fading into the shadows. Could she risk part of her soul to save them? What part would she sacrifice? No. Emily shrieked, fighting against the grasp of the shadows tightening around her. I won't lose them to this trap. Tick-tock, the witch crooned, her voice dripping with malice. The clock is nearly done, Emily. Choose your sacrifice wisely. Fingers trembling, Emily looked down, and right before her eyes, the symbol glowed brighter, illuminating her resolve. I'll sacrifice my fear. She shouted. I'll become the strength I need. In that moment, the swirling shadows stilled, as if awaiting her next move. Breathing heavily, she focused on the symbol, willing its power to meld with her own. Would this be the right choice? What lay behind the door she was unlocking? Just then, a loud chime echoed through the room. Each chime stole her breath away, resonating with the finality of fate. Was it too late to turn back? Was the darkness ready to unleash the price of her choice? As each stroke of the clock echoed in her mind, Emily braced herself, standing at the precipice of a truth that could shatter her world. The last echo faded, and in the chilling silence that followed, she steeled herself for what was to come. What awaited her on the other side of this darkness? It was a question she had to answer, and time was running out. The air crackled with tension, and shadows swirled like storm clouds, threatening to consume everything in their path. Emily's heart raced, each beat a relentless reminder that time was slipping away. With the last chime of the clock echoing in her ears, the weight of her choice bore down on her like a leaden shroud. Now the witch's voice slithered through the darkness, making Emily shudder. Let us see just how far you're willing to go. Energy surged from the glowing symbol, twisting around her fingers, pulsating with an urgency that felt both exhilarating and frightening. It was as if the shadows were alive, writhing at the edges of her consciousness, beckoning her towards something primal. The faces that had formed earlier, her brother and mother, flickered in and out of view, their eyes pleading, their lips moving in silent desperation. No! She cried, desperate to hold on to them, to keep them from slipping into oblivion. The darkness responded with a chilling laughter, reverberating against the walls. Fight all you want, child. The power you crave comes from the pain you fear. It's a simple equation. Emily inhaled sharply, a knot twisting in her stomach. The witch's words hung heavy in the air, like storm clouds urging a tempest. She felt the shadows tightening around her, their cold tendrils clawing at her resolve. Suddenly, the symbol burned against her skin, and a vision struck her. She was standing in a grand hall draped in velvet shadows, an ornate mirror glimmering before her. In its reflection, she saw not just herself, but fractured versions of her loved ones, their faces distorted by her choices and fears. They opened their mouths to speak, but no sound emerged, only an echoing silence that threatened to shatter her. Make your choice, Emily. The witch boomed, stepping closer, her eyes alight with twisted glee. Who will you save, and at what cost? This is your sacrifice, after all. Desperation clawed at her, and tears pricked her eyes. I want them both. I won't choose. Foolish girl. The witch shrieked, her voice a blade slicing through the tension. Then prepare to lose them both. It hit like a blow, fire and ice, mingling in a vortex of emotions. The shadows pulled tighter, constricting around her throat like a vice, and she felt the first tendrils of panic claw at her chest. She could not just let them disappear, could not let that darkness win. With a fierce scream that echoed with all her agony, Emily focused on the glowing symbol. It was her power, her connection to everything she fought for. No. I will not be afraid. The air shimmered as her resolve ignited. The symbol flared, and a flash of light burst forth, scattering the shadows momentarily. Emily felt the warmth spread through her, a fire of defiance burning against the encroaching cold. Then, something shifted. The mirror before her spoke without words, revealing glimmers of potential futures. Each reflection showed different outcomes: her brother laughing, her mother smiling, but each came at a price she couldn't ignore. With every possibility, her heart ached, for she could see herself fractured within each scenario. Choose, Emily. Or choose for none. The witch's voice resounded, echoing like thunder. Staring into the swirling fog of her choices, Emily felt the pressure mounting. It was an intuitive battle, a struggle to unleash strength unlike she had ever known. Her power. But the darkness still writhed ominously, as though it hungered for her uncertainty. Which core of yourself will you unleash? The witch whispered deliberately, sultry and malicious. A fresh wave of determination surged. She wouldn't let that darkness decide for her. But, could she merge both her fears and her fierce desire to protect? Could she become something more? Time was slipping away again, each second drawing her closer to a precipice she had yet to understand. Did she dare to leap? Perfect silence ensued, and in that moment of stillness, Emily sensed her next move would redefine everything. She steeled her breath, ready to embrace the unknown, to leap into the heart of the darkness or risk losing everything. What awaited her in that leap? Would it grant her power, or devour her whole? The final decision hung in the air, pulsing like the waning light of hope. Emily stood on the brink, her heart pounding, caught between her past and the shadowy depths that beckoned. Every instinct screamed at her to turn back, but the faces of her loved ones, those haunting images in the mirror, spurred her on like a whirlpool sucking her in. She couldn't decide. Couldn't let go. With a wrenching cry, she plunged forward into the depths of darkness. Time folded around her like an ancient cloak, and a whirlwind of memories surged through her. Each whisper and echo painted a vivid tapestry filled with laughter, pain, and choices made long ago. Every moment was raw, a hex stitched onto her very being, moments she thought had faded. Yet, here they were, alive and raging. Embrace the sorrow, child. Let it fuel you. The witch crooned, her voice a snake sliding into Emily's ear. The shadows twisted, wrapping around her legs like a creeping vine, threatening to drag her down. But within her chest, a flicker began, a warmth that felt so alien amidst the cold. The symbol on her hand glowed brighter, resonating with her heartbeat. It promised a power she never knew she possessed, a flame igniting in response to her fear. She thrust her hand into the heart of the whirlpool, longing to connect the fractured pieces of herself. I won't be afraid anymore. The shadows recoiled as if she destruck them. A voice strong, fierce rose within her, fueled by purpose. I am more than my pain. I am a protector. Suddenly, the swirling darkness fractured like glass, and she was thrust into a scene. It unraveled like a film reel torn and stringing out of time. Her brother's laughter filled the air, followed by her mother's calming presence. Their smiles warmed the oppressive gloom that had enveloped her. But another fragment shadowed that scene, a flicker of desperation, of choice lost. Emily. Her brother's voice resonated. You can't let this happen. We're counting on you. But the shadows laughed, tendrils wrapping tighter around her heart, reminding her of the stakes. They breathed her fears into the air. What if you fail? What if your leap means the end of them? In that moment, the fear transformed into clarity. She felt an unexpected strength, a force rushing through her veins, forcing the darkness back. Her memories twisted, reforming themselves around the truth she had feared to grasp. The familiar warmth filled her once more, fusing with her resolve. My sacrifice is not a choice, it's my strength. With each word, the shadows twisted and recoiled, they screamed in agony. The burning light her symbol emitted flooded the room, illuminating everything, every corner, every face. Emily stood her ground, every ounce of pain and love pulsing in rhythm with her flickering heart. What do you choose, Emily? The witch shrieked, her face a mask of rage and fury as the darkness continued to churn behind her. Then, a pivotal moment came. The mirror shattered, each jagged piece reflecting fragments of Emily's life, whispering promises and threats alike. She had one decision left. She could accept the power bestowed upon her and forever hold the weight of that choice. Would she embrace the shadows in their entirety, risking herself to save them? Or would she still search for another way, a glimmer of light amid encroaching darkness? Suddenly, the fractured pieces around her began to pulse with energy, and Emily realized she had the choice to merge her fears, her love, and her power. But it did come at a cost she couldn't fully know. Her heart racing, she screamed, "I choose." But the decision belonged to something deeper than words. The shadows shivered anxiously, hovering on the edge of their own reckoning. Just then, she felt a piercing chill wash over her, something ancient, foreboding. Beyond the veil, something stirred. And for the first time, the ground beneath her trembled as if responding to an unspeakable presence closing in. The very air thickened with expectation, and Emily's looming realization struck like thunder. What had she truly unleashed by embracing her power? A sudden darkness loomed, darker than any shadow she had faced. The question hung in the air, electrifying and terrifying: what was about to emerge from the depths? What choices had she truly made? The ground shook violently, sending a jolt through Emily's legs. Her heart raced, the rhythmic pounding echoing in her ears as she struggled to maintain her balance. Shadows swirled around her, dark tendrils weaving and coiling, as if sensing the power she had called forth. With every unsteady breath, Emily felt the weight of their presence, an uncanny mixture of dread and excitement invading her senses. The air grew thick, like a storm ready to break, and then a soft whispering began, reverberating from the depths of the darkness. "Welcome, welcome." It hissed, an eerie symphony of voices rising and falling like waves in an unseen ocean, a haunting lullaby that tickled the nape of her neck. Who is there?" Emily's voice trembled, but the demand for clarity echoed fiercely in her mind. The more she questioned, the more power bubbled within her. Then, it happened, a surge of light erupted from the symbol on her hand, casting an iridescent glow that pushed against the edges of the looming shadows. It felt like standing on the edge of an abyss, light and dark clashing, creating a cacophony of tension. "Do not fear us, Emily," the voices crooned, now deceptively soft and inviting. "We are the memories you feared to confront. Your past will guide you, lead you to the truth." A figure flickered into the light, a silhouette emerging from the darkness like a mirage. Emily squinted, trying to make sense of the shadow, and her heart clenched. It was her father, lost to her years ago but now standing before her, just out of reach. "Dad?" she whispered, disbelief clawing at the edges of her mind. The sound of his voice enveloped her like a warm embrace. "Child, you must understand. Your power comes not from avoidance but acceptance. You have the strength to rewrite what was lost," he said, and Emily felt tears brimming in her eyes. Each word echoed with the love she had missed, the memories she buried. "You are not bound by fate." But a space opened up, growing darker, and the witch's laughter sliced through the moment, sharp and mocking. "You think you can manipulate the past?" The witch sneered, her figure weaving easily back into Emily's view, taking the form of both a villain and a mentor. "The truth is not so kind. It paves a road of sorrow." Emily's spirit flickered, the battle within her raging. She had to confront the pain, but doing so felt like peering into the depths of an open wound. The memories threatened to spiral out of control. "I will not let fear define me," she shouted, a surge of confidence rushing through her veins. "You are just a figment of what attempts to hold me back." "Very well," the witch bellowed, and the air crackled with energy. "But remember, child, darkness is always seductive." Suddenly, a burst of shadowy figures erupted around Emily, each morphing into her past, the terrible, beautiful moments that haunted her dreams. Images of laughter turned to echoes of pain, mingling with voices that begged for forgiveness, for resolution. With her heart racing, Emily felt the pull to back away, to retreat into the safety of her mind's barricades. But her father's face fueled her resolve. Drawing from deep inside her, she screamed again, "I accept my past. All of it." As the words left her lips, the shadows suddenly froze, suspended mid-motion, and began to rearrange themselves. Pieces of her memory floated together, swirling like a galaxy coming into focus, and then, she saw it, her father reaching out, eyes locked on hers, not in despair but in encouragement. The shadows softened around her, revealing glimpses of hope entwined with the pain, but then the witch screeched, "No. You cannot escape this." The very ground began to divide beneath Emily, and the space between moments widened, the air electric with tremors of impending chaos. Fear crept back in, but she refused to back down. There was more at stake than just her past, there was her family. In that moment, accessible yet elusive, Emily understood. Power didn't come from evasion, it was drawn from the deepest sources of pain and love. And still, somewhere in that chaos, a tremor of foreboding lingered like an uninvited guest. What if the truth she sought was deeper than her forgiving, more grotesque than she could bear? As she grappled with her choices and their implications, the shadows morphed into something monstrous, shifting and spiraling, ready to reveal the next layer of this truth. What horrors awaited when she pulled the final string of her shattered memories? Would the embrace of the past turn into a nightmare? The ground buckled beneath Emily, each tremor vibrating through her core. Panic swirled like a tempest inside her chest, urgent and alive. She could feel the shadows shifting, creeping closer, wrapping around her like cold, unyielding chains. With every ounce of will, she focused on her father's face, that fleeting smile from so long ago. "You're here, Dad. I can't lose you again." Her voice quaked, drowned by the witch's screeching laughter rippling through the air. What a touching scene. The witch jeered, her eyes glinting with malice. "Family love, sweet but naive. Your father isn't here to save you, my dear. He's a dark memory, a tether to your distraction." The shadows twisted further, and with each word, they swallowed more light. "No. You're wrong," Emily screamed, pushing back against the encroaching shadows. "He's not just a memory, he's my strength." And with that, a pulse surged from the symbol glowing on her palm. Streams of iridescence erupted, illuminating the dark barrenness around her. Ghostly images flickered, her younger self smiling hesitantly, her mother laughing, moments of pure joy before the darkness carved reality into jagged scars. The ground cracked wider, revealing voids beneath her feet that seemed to summon infinite terror. The witch's shadows surged, becoming wraith-like forms, their hollow eyes hungry for her acceptance of fear. Yet amidst the chaos, the warmth radiating from her father's form urged her to stay anchored, a counterweight to the void. "Embrace it, Emily," he urged, his voice steady, unfurling hope like a banner. "Face it all." Emily's heart swelled. With a fierce breath, she focused inward, remembering every hurt, every beautiful memory. Each moment she had hidden away became fuel, empowering her resolve, igniting her spirit against the overwhelming tide. "Enough!" she roared, her voice drowning out the witch's taunts. "I will not allow the past to dictate who I become. I will find the truth." Suddenly, the shadows cried out in anger, their twisting forms recoiling momentarily. In a single, defiant bound, Emily lifted her arm, channeling all her determination towards the swirling chaos, weaving her memories together like a tapestry alive with color. The shrieks of the witch pierced her heart as flames licked the edges of the void. Emily directed the light like a shield, crafting a sanctuary through the chaos that was her journey. With her father's unwavering gaze behind her, she edged forward, the shadows slowly consumers, shriveling beneath the growing vibrancy of her light, but with every step, Emily could feel the ground beneath her begin to collapse further. Like a sandcastle by the tide, it was disintegrating, and something deeper stirred in the unfathomable depths. "What is this?" The witch spat, her voice laced with rage. "You dare challenge me?" Emily felt the panic swelling, the weight of grave uncertainty bearing down like lead. Memories swirled wildly, but then, a thought struck her. She had called forth these shadows, they were bound to her, woven into her very essence. If she could harness this power, she might unravel not only the truth but the witch's hold on her soul. With one final push, Emily's cry rang out, fierce and clear, "Reveal yourself to me." The darkness recoiled, a guttural chill echoing through the void. Pulsing whispers enveloped her, but she fought through the noise, grasping at the unfamiliar tendrils weaving around her. Just as she felt she might slip from their grasp, the shadows pulled back, merging to reveal a horrific visage flickering, distorted, and adorned with the names of the lost. And in that twisted moment, Emily understood the depth of the truth she sought, and it ignited a terror that threatened to consume her. Was it willing her to face her most haunting memories? Or was the necessity of confronting her deepest regret the true horror waiting to strike? Emily's heart plunged as she stood on the abyss of revelation. What would she discover about her past that lay hidden beneath the weight of her fears? Just as she thought she could break free, a chilling laugh echoed once more in the distance, boding doom for what was yet to come. Time was running out. Would accepting her past save her or shatter her completely? The shadows writhed, threatening to engulf her in darkness. Emily's heart beat wildly. She felt the weight of the witch's mocking laughter seep into her bones, chilling every ounce of courage she held. "Face it, Emily," she screamed silently, her voice echoing within. Suddenly, a flood of clarity washed over her. Those memories, the joy, the pain, were hers. They belonged to her, piece by piece, shaping the essence of who she was. With one fierce breath, she tore down the barricades she'd built around her heart. "I choose to remember," she shouted, letting each word strike like a hammer against the echoes of dread. "I will not let you or my past define my future." The witch recoiled, her laughter turning to a snarl. The shadows lunged forward, but Emily stood her ground, feeling the energy of those sacred memories rise in a burst of light from the symbol on her palm. As if in response, the swirling tendrils of darkness began to dissolve, revealing glimpses of moments long forgotten. Her father's smile, her brother's laughter, her mother's embrace, they surged together to form a vivid tapestry that shone like a beacon. "You pitiful child!" the witch screeched, and the ground quaked beneath Emily's feet. "You think you can rewrite your fate? This is no rewrite, this is reclamation," Emily cried, fire igniting in her veins. She poured her heart into her words, into the light bursting forth from her palm. Memory after memory cascaded around her, mingling fear with strength, until an overwhelming brilliance enveloped her. With a mighty shout, she thrust her hand toward the shadows. "I embrace all of it." The light exploded forth, an explosion of warmth and love that pushed back the suffocating darkness, illuminating every corner of her chaotic mind like dawn breaking over a stormy sea. "No!" the witch howled, the shadows twisting violently. But Emily felt the power surging, not just from her heart but from the shared love of her family, weaving a cocoon of strength that shone bright against the dark. Then it occurred to her. Love, acceptance, and fear intertwined in this intricate dance. Emily had been running, but from embracing them all, she could rise stronger than ever. "You have no hold over me. I will forge my path," she declared, feeling each word resonate like the tolling of a sacred bell. In that moment, the cavernous space around her quaked as the shadows shattered, each flicker reflecting back her past pains and joys. Every fragment cocooned into spiraling streams of light released, understood, and accepted. The final remnants of darkness recoiled, merging into a swirling vortex at the edge of the hall. In the center, the witch wailed and thrashed, her form fading into shadow as the light enveloped her entirely, erasing her malevolent grasp. The storm around Emily stilled, replaced by an overwhelming silence. She felt delicate yet so gloriously alive, the weight of centuries lifted from her shoulders. Her palm, the focal point of her battle, shimmered with a soft, permanent glow, the mark of her journey, a testament to her strength and resolve. In the quiet that followed, a warmth enveloped her, like an embrace from the memories she'd just reclaimed. Looking around, she caught glimpses of her loved ones, flickering on the edges of light. Emily, a faint whisper hung in the air, tugging at her heart. She turned, and there they were. Her father, her brother, her mother, shimmering like stars against the remnants of darkness, alive with warmth and love. their features filled with pride. "You did it," her father said, grinning wide. "You faced it all. And you won." Tears flowed freely down Emily's cheeks as she felt their presence wrap around her like a soft blanket, safe and comforting. "I thought I lost you," she whispered, half in disbelief. "Not lost," her mother breathed, her voice like a gentle melody. "You carried us within the depths of your heart. We're here, always." In the distance, the ruins of the dark realm faded, and Emily knew she was safe. The struggle had forged her anew. "Thank you for believing in me," she replied, her throat tight with emotion. "This isn't just the end. It's the beginning." With one last look at her family, who glowed fiercely against the twilight haze, she took a step toward the exit, the path illuminated with newfound hope. The clock was no longer a reminder of impending doom. It was the heartbeat of infinite possibilities ahead. Emily pushed open the door to the outside world, the chill of the night air wrapping around her. She smiled, the numbers on her palm now a vibrant testament of her journey. No longer a countdown, but a celebration of her choices. With newfound strength, Emily turned to face the horizon stretching endlessly before her, a horizon filled with love, hope, and the promise of freedom. As she took her first steps into the world beyond, an echo rang in her heart, a whisper of hope, a challenge from within. This is just the start. Embrace it all. The world awaited her, bursting with brilliance, and she knew she was ready. She was no longer defined by fear, but by the radiant strength of her heart, unyielding and bright. If you love stories that inspire courage and resilience, then you need to subscribe now to stay updated on our next exclusive tales. And don't just sit there. Smash that like button to help us connect with even more amazing readers just like you. Make sure to flood the comments section with your thoughts about this gripping conclusion and share your own theories about what's next for Emily. Don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need a touch of inspiration in their lives. Spread the power of love and hope.